What is going on, guys? Jack here and welcome to a Football Manager online video, and today I'm going to be showing you guys an overview for the Matchday experience here in FMO for a league game. So I've done a video already talking about the basics of FMO where I've touched upon some of the information I'll be talking about today. If you haven't seen that video, I'll try and remember to leave a link for that down in the description. So anyway, as I mentioned, FMO has kind of two main games that you'll be playing a lot of, and they are league and ranked matches. Now, your league is a weekly season with 30 matches in it. Not 30 matches, sorry, 26 matches in it. You play 4 matches a day and then 2 matches on Tuesday. The leagues run from Wednesday till Tuesday each week. Today, as I record this, it's a Tuesday. As a result, we only have 2 games to play today. You can see I'm currently in 3rd. My team is going to be promoted. And my current time slot that I play in is 7 PM till 9 PM. So when you kind of join a league, you are able to select a time zone that best suits you from kind of a massive list of them. As you can see here, obviously, this is the time zones that are available, so you can change on the fly. And yeah, it's kind of a cool way of doing it. So each day for 2 hours, your team will play 4 league matches except on Tuesdays. So, as you can see, we're at the end of the season. As I said, it's a Tuesday. We're already promoted. And you can see in the bottom right, the game is telling me my match is about to start soon. You may have noticed prior to this message appearing, there was a little countdown that appeared in the bottom right. So anyway, with the leagues, you play against different teams in a big pyramid system. I'm currently in the FMO Semi-Pro League, which is the 4th tier of 7 in the game, and sorry, 4th tier of 6 in the game, I should say. And in this league, we have a wage cap of £750,000. As you can see, I'm getting kind of close to that cap, and as a result, I won't be able to spend too much more on player wages in this kind of division. And as you work up through the leagues, the cap rises. So naturally, you come up as better teams as you go up through the divisions. But at the same time, when you're a new team starting out, you aren't going to immediately be thrown into the deep end with people who have vastly better sides. So anyway, the way the Matchday experience works is pretty simple. And the way it works basically is that you get thrown into a game. The game is not hosted by either person taking part. Instead, it takes place on a dedicated server. Of course, I am connected to Chinese servers here, so hopefully we don't have any hiccups, although I have had a few problems when it comes to the overall Matchday experience purely based off connection. But when it works, it's a very fun and enjoyable experience indeed. So the way the match engine works right now is it's running on the FM16 match engine. I do believe there are plans to get the FM17 match engine in before too long. And the tactical system of this game, very similar to your traditional Football Manager experience. You pick your tactics, you've got your roles, you have your team kind of instructions, you have player instructions, you have set pieces. There's not kind of too much in the degree of, I guess, unknownness to this all. What might seem a little bit odd is this chemistry system we have here, and within the game there is a chemistry system based off clubs and nationalities, and each different nationality has a different bonus you get. And dependent on the number of players you have of that chemistry type, those effects pass on to other players. So as you can see at the moment, I have a tier 2 Brazilian side. That means I get +1 dribbling, +2 technique, +1 agility, and +1 finishing on all my players in the starting 11, not just exclusively Brazilian players. So if we look at Teixeira, for example, here, you can see he's got +2 on technique, +1 on dribbling, +1 on finishing, and +1 agility thanks to the chemistry style. So the chemistries are kind of an interesting way of doing things. You can have both a club and a national chemistry, I believe, at the same time. As you can see, they all have their own unique bonuses based off what you've got. And down here, we have a list of all the different kind of players that I have. So I have 3 Portuguese players, 9 Brazilian players. And those players who do have chemistry, the Brazilian players are kind of marked, as you can see here on my tactical screen, with a yellow aura around them. That kind of just indicates the fact that they are, in fact, kind of the players who are creating a chemistry style. If I just quickly remove one player out, you'll see that it changes to a red, and we've dropped down to tier 1 in kind of the Brazilian chemistry style. So there's kind of a fine balance, I guess, to be struck when you're building your team between kind of having the best team you can, but also trying to have the best chemistry you can. And the chemistry can make a very big difference. I believe the tier 3 bonus for Brazil, as you can see here, it's +3 dribbling, +2 technique, +2 agility, +2 finishing. That can turn distinctly average players, particularly going forward, into very, very potent and dangerous threats on the break. And, well, I wouldn't mind getting my team eventually up to having 11 Brazilian players and hitting all those different needs. So anyway, I did notice while we wait for this game that I did get a little investor icon, and it was some Chinese top 6 scouters. So I'll open these packs. Don't really expect anything in them, but these are just my daily rewards for playing 2 hours today. So I'll give them an open. As I said, daily rewards, you don't often get great stuff from them. When you do, it's usually a really nice surprise. But at the same time, you know, you can sometimes use those players just to gain a little bit of equity, and considering you just get them given to you for free just for playing a game, you really can't complain too much. So anyway, the timer has now hit 000 on our semi-pro game, so right on cue. I was about to say it should be starting any second now, and that is exactly the case. As I said, this would all load up very instantaneous for you if it was on a European server. However, right now, Chinese servers, not ideal. Looking at this guy's team, you can see he's got Katuma Asano, of course, the new Arsenal player who's out on loan. He's got Tom Cleverley. He's got a bit of a mix and match of everything. He's not got any chemistry, though. And, well, his team looks okay. So, as you can see here, this is the team that we had before tactically. But what you can do with this game is you can have multiple tactics saved up. So what you can do is you can kind of fake show one hand and pretend that you're going to play a really narrow system like this one I have here, and then drastically turn things on their head and switch to a second tactic and try and catch out the opposition. At the higher levels of play and ranks, you'll definitely see teams do that a fair bit, where they might not show you the team they're actually going to play with and they'll quickly change it. But anyway, for this game, I am going to switch with our kind of regular kind of chemistry high 4-3-1-2. In terms of team instructions, I'm not going to change anything, I don't think. We get an opportunity to do opposition instructions in just a second. So it's worth noting that this person I'm actually playing isn't online at the moment, so I am just going to be playing against his assistant manager. Hopefully we can still get a good result against him, despite the fact I am already promoted. You may have noticed we are just 1 or 2 points off the teams at the top of the table, and as a result, I'd quite fancy myself to win the league. Anyway, you've got your player instructions and opposition instructions here. I feel like most of this probably looks vaguely familiar to you if you're just playing it for the first time. So we get this nice little flashy animation that isn't going to play back too smoothly, and we're straight into the game. Now, with the game, there's nothing too crazy going on here. You have a selection of different camera angles you can use. Unfortunately, 2D Classic is not one of them, so I do play with close camera on most of the time whilst I'm playing FMO. Obviously, you can see the statistics on your screen here. You can see the timer going away in the top left. You'll notice that the game can't be paused during play. However, the FMO kind of match engine does show significantly more highlights. If the game does look a little bit laggy, that is not down to the video quality itself. It is because this game is actually being streamed, essentially, from a kind of Chinese server to my PC. As I mentioned, this game has peer-to-peer connection. Sorry, doesn't have peer-to-peer connection. It actually runs off dedicated servers. So obviously, if you've ever played a network game, you'll know the struggle that is where one of you disconnects, either the server goes down, or if you're not the one who's running the kind of network game, you reconnect and your assistant just takes over for the game. With this system, if I was to disconnect, I do have the immediate ability to connect back into the game and kind of just continue on as I was in charge of my team. And it's kind of a quite seamless experience, actually, and something that I was really impressed with. Kind of the fact that it was working within Football Manager. Anyway, we're on the attack kit. Augusto, Teixeira, blocked. Kind of Dilson get the ball and he can't. But no, as you can see, the game looks very similar. I'm sure this is very much the Football Manager you know. It has a few little flashy arcadey animations. You may have noticed them when we get fouls, bookings, that kind of stuff. It's all very exciting, I've got to be honest. And, well, from my general experience, the games in FMO do last longer than kind of your traditional Football Manager experiences. As I said, there is no pause button, so I feel like there's a little bit of a counter to that to prevent people just pausing and stopping the game forever. There was probably a conscious decision made to just show a lot of highlights, pad things out, show you all the necessary information, because I do feel like with the FMO kind of match experience, one of the things that they're perhaps gunning for SI is the ability basically to have it a bit esportsy in the sense that you change your tactics really quickly on the fly. You know, every 10 minutes you might be changing a player role. It's not really the way I'm used to playing Football Manager. I'm sure if you've ever seen you know, strategy games, tactical games, MOBAs, you kind of know all that micromanagement stuff. I feel like that might be, I don't want to say that might be the intent. I feel like that'd be reading it too much, but it kind of feels like that's what it might be to me. I have noticed that when I've been playing people online, it does seem like they're quite frequently switching their formation, you know, particularly at the higher levels of play, kind of really evolving their game tactic on the fly. And obviously, without the ability to pause, there is a degree of skill involved in quickly changing your tactics around. Now, unfortunately for me, I have the dilemma of the fact that, as I mentioned, this is obviously not the greatest connection-wise for me, and so me quickly adjusting player instructions and stuff just really isn't an option because it takes a little while to load. But I can imagine that being an element of the game that could be built upon. And I imagine at the higher levels of play, that's something that's very much done as the norm, kind of the adjusting of formations on the fly, particularly without any tactical familiarity within the game. There is no tactical familiarity. I know a few people have asked, you know, how does condition work in this game? Now, obviously, there isn't a gap in terms of days between matches in FMO. The games just take place one after the other. It seems to me like the the condition of players is a little bit random in terms of how much they lose, but you can see here kind of the player condition's fairly norm. You can get condition cards, which obviously improve a player's fitness. I've generally found that within 3 to 4 matches, players kind of start to need a rest. Prior to that, though, you can play a number of games in a row without too much in the way of a worry. Kind of when it comes to player condition, there's no real risk of playing a player for a few games in a row. You do obviously get injuries in this game. The way that the injuries heal is based off a number of games. So, for example, stuff like a twisted knee, you miss 9 games. You can get healing cards, however, you get them as part of your daily rewards, I do believe, along with the fitness cards just by signing into the game each day. So, yeah, there's options there to kind of get the kind of cards you need without having to pay any real money to both improve players' condition and their fitness, but also recover them from injury. So anyway, this game so far, it's not really gone to plan, I was about to say, and they've actually scored. Elkson getting the goal. And, well, that's not what I wanted to see, is it? Statistically, we've actually been in control of this game, but we've been hit on the counter there. Diego Alves in goal perhaps should do a little bit better. If we just look at the stats when they come up in a second, I feel like we might be being FM'd at the moment. I feel like we have probably been the better team. And, well, right now we are being punished a little bit for just having not taken the opportunities that came our way. But fair play to them. They did create an opportunity and they took it. You can see, look at the stats. The green bars obviously indicate us. We've had 3 clear-cut chances. They've had none. It's been a dominant display, but without that end product, maybe we can make something happen from this corner. Renato Augusto whips it in. Keeper parries it wide. Good pressure. We're doing okay. I mean, the scoreline doesn't really reflect how the game's gone. You can notice here that the average ratings in this game are actually more precise than in Football Managers on a match-to-match basis. I know in FM, obviously, the ratings are done on a single decimal point. Here you'll notice they're done on 2, similarly to the average rating stat that you'll often see between games and across seasons. In just Football Managers of the years gone by. Anyway, while I've been rambling on there, Ricardo Goulart, nice finish by him, the Brazilian, slots it home. We kind of fight back immediately, which is nice. And hopefully in the second half, we can continue that. Of course, there's still 5 minutes of the first half, Jack. I feel like we probably can score again. But, yeah, we'll see how we get on in this match. We're doing okay. He's playing a 4-4-2. Obviously, that's the system that he set up that his assistant manager is kind of taking control of. Really, our team just hasn't quite turned up. We've dominated the game, but without any real quality and without having a great game between any of our players as well. That's an important block there, because that was a really good opportunity, actually, for them. So as I mentioned, these games, they do take a little bit longer than your traditional Football Manager matches. When you play FMO, the league games, as I mentioned, you play 4 matches per day except on Tuesday, and these games occur every half an hour. Obviously, this game's been going for about 8 minutes so far, and we're coming up to halfway through the game. So you're looking at perhaps 20 minutes per match. I know for some people that might be a little bit too long. I don't know if there'll ever be a way to change that or to mutually agree it with the person you're playing against. I'd assume probably not. But I know, for example, in the offline mode that you can play, there's kind of a challenge mode where you go around the world, beating different world leagues. Within that game mode, the matches do tend to be a little bit longer just because you end up thrashing teams a lot more. But this has been a fairly long game so far, if I'm honest. I feel like this is the kind of game which, when you're playing against another human, it's a really, really great experience because it feels like you're kind of trying to tactically maneuver around someone else. But at the same time, I don't want to say it can get a little bit drawn out, but it does feel a little bit like that, perhaps. But at the same time, I played over 400, 500 matches in this game. So I say the matches are drawn out and they could be shorter. I've still put myself through 500 of them. So clearly I'm still enjoying the game to some extent. I've been playing this game for a few months now. And I've been thoroughly enjoying my time playing it. I think I'm trying to work out how many months I have played of it. It's coming up to 2 or 3 now. And obviously, I've sunk a fair bit of time into this game, particularly when you consider it's a game that is only available in China. The servers aren't great, so disconnections happen fairly frequently, but I'm willing to persist through them for the overall match experience. Anyway, it does feel like at the start of this second half, at least our quality is showing as we are on the attack again. Can Tyson pull it back? He's going to go selfishly down the middle. In FM17, he'd be passing that there. Unfortunately, he was greedy, and it was stopped by the keeper quite nicely, but... well, Contral, his fitness dropping a little bit, might need to make a change there. Lucas Campos here. Contral, he's looking tired. I'm going to take him off. And I think the option I'm going to bring on is I'm actually going to bring in Gary Cahill, and then we're going to bring in Jeremy Matteo to play left back for us. Now, Matteo, not the best player going forward at left back, but I do feel like he can do a job for us here. Anyway, they're on the counter-attack. Can we stop this happening? I mean, it's a very cynical foul by Gill, but I kind of approve of it. Obviously, you may be noticing at this point that a lot of the fouls and kind of yellow cards are just shown in this game. I don't know if that's entirely necessary. Again, I feel like that's a little bit of padding out for the sake of allowing people to make changes. Maybe I'm wrong on that front. I do wonder if the ability to kind of pause would be an option. I know that's kind of a more common approach in these kind of games. I guess that might break up the flow of the game, particularly if you're not the person who calls kind of the timeout and the pause. But at the same time, I feel like the ability to have, I don't know, should say 2 45-second kind of sub periods where you can make changes and call a pause might be beneficial for the game. It might actually make the game shorter in the long term. I know there's a big worry, I guess, that people just delay out games and just pause the game 3 times or 2 times for the sake of it, just to waste the other person's time. I know it's kind of a problem with FIFA. I'm sure you've all had a game where you've been playing FIFA Ultimate Team and the person you're playing against just pauses it multiple times. He's off. Right? I feel like we're on course to win this game now. 60 minutes gone, they're going to be down a man. And, well, we're 3-1 up. We're looking comfortable. Obviously, the opposition player's been sent off, so now there is a pause that gives us a chance to make some changes. It gives us 30 seconds. You get this pause as well when it comes to injuries as well, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to make a few changes. I'm going to bring on Adam Lallana to play deep line playmaker. I might also I might also make one more change. I'm not going to, purely off the basis that there's still half an hour left in this game. You may have noticed that when I took off Hernandez there, the Juventus centre mid, the chemistry dropped for all our other players. I believe that does have a live effect into the match itself, whereby if you were to sub off, one of your players, providing chemistry of a higher level for a player who obviously isn't Brazilian in the case of my team, bringing on Lallana, that does see the chemistry drop for the rest of the team. But anyway, we're looking good here. We're looking comfortable. I was thinking about doing a second game. I don't think I am going to do one just because of how long this one's going to be. But I do want to quickly show you guys the ranked matchmaking as a whole because it's very, very cool indeed. Kind of the fact that you can just hit find game and instantly find a versus game within, well, really a matter of seconds within a Football Manager game. That's something that I'd love to see the main game one day have, is kind of a live matchmaking, where you could play draft mode against someone random on the fly. I don't know if draft mode would be the best idea for that just because of how long it lasts and people disconnecting and whatnot. But I don't know, I feel like it's a concept that obviously isn't exactly new to gaming, but I feel like it's something that Football Manager could do really, really well if executed properly. But anyway, let's see how we get on here. 20 minutes left. We're 2 goals to the good. They've had a man sent off. I feel like the pressure is building on them now, and we're on the attack again here. Goulart, nice little build-up play with Renato Augusto. Unfortunately, stopped by Yang Yungling in goal there. So, I mean, the player conditions looking good. We've dominated this game, which is fantastic to see. Obviously, I'm trying to chase that spot at the top of the table. That's the goal. The squad goal today is to try and win the league. We've got one more game after this. I think it's going to be very tough. Oh my gosh, is that a cross that's gone in? I don't think it has. It's actually been headed in by Teixeira. Keeper completely misread the flight of that. He bangs it in, the Brazilian. Nilsson with the goal even. And Teixeira just nodding it in at the back post. A lovely little header for him. And right on cue, we've had a disconnection from the server. Now, these don't happen that often. I'm going to quickly restart the game, and hopefully we can reconnect in before it's ended, so I can show you guys kind of how good it is being able to connect into a match before it finishes. Okay guys, so we're back, and well, eagle-eyed viewers might notice, Jack, this is a different match. It is indeed. This is actually the last game of the season. I thought I'd just bring you the closing stages of this, so I can show you what happens at the end of the season, but also because there's a little bit on the line here. 9 minutes left, we need a goal. A draw here, not good enough for us to win the league. Of course, we still need a result to go our way in the league for us to win the title here. We're 1 point behind the team who are top. You can see, looking at the game, we've been dominant. The purple is us. Unfortunately, Ramirez sent off at the start of the second half really has scuppered our plans. And we did concede, as you can see here, in the 63rd minute. So it's not looking good for us. 8 minutes left. We're kind of chasing the game. We need something big to happen. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to take off Tyson, who's just not had the greatest of games, in all honesty. And I think we'll go with that one change for now. 7 minutes. We need a goal. We're down a man. Teixeira, can you finish that? He hits it straight at the keeper. Such a great opportunity there. Maybe this sub can make a difference for us. Roger Martinez coming on in favour of Tyson in the final third. But yeah, we're chasing this game now. This is going to be very tricky, I think, to win from this position. It's worth noting the Goulart not had the greatest of games. I'm going to take him off of Wanyama. At the moment, we're playing a 4-3-2. It's a bit of a odd shape, I guess you could say. It's kind of a bit of a thrown together side. We're trying to chase the game. We're down a man. It's never easy chasing a football match when you're down to 10 men, but we're trying to make something happen here. Last 5 minutes. Of course, a win here might still not be enough. We are on the attack though. Vida, can he get the ball into the box? He does. It's cleared away. And well, 5 minutes left. We need a win. We need something here and now. This guy we're playing against is online. He is a good player. And yeah, he is doing pretty well, to be fair to him. You know, he's kind of FMing me, but at the same time, we've not actually created that many clear-cut chances, and they've taken the one chance that came their way, his team. But yeah, time is just slipping away. 87 minutes, we need a goal. We have to score. We have to win this to have any chance at the title. Contral into the box. Tejera can't squeeze it in. The rebound, please. Someone hit it. Is that a penalty? It's not a penalty. How's that not gone in? Of course, this for a chance to win the title. I won't know how the other game has gone at the top of the table until after this one. We're on the attack again. Vida, can you get it in the box? Renato Gusto. I mean, it looked like a penalty. It's not been given. And that's probably going to be all she wrote. That mad scramble at the end, that was our chance for the title. That was our chance to do it. And, well, unfortunately for us, a draw here going to be the end result, which just simply put isn't good enough. So you can see here at the end of a match you get some prize money. You also get development points, which I touched upon in my overview of the game, but for those of you who can't remember, development points are basically a currency that players use to improve stats, and you basically invest them into whatever area of the game of each player that you want to improve. So that's disappointing. Our fixtures are all finished up. Unfortunately, the league isn't done. We are actually, with that kind of flop at the end, going to finish third as opposed to second, which is really disappointing. And yeah, looking at it here, if we managed to win that game, it still wouldn't have been enough. So that could have been worse, I guess. Anyway, as you can see, we have been promoted from our division. We get £2 million. We also get an additional reward for having the best defence in the competition. That's a £500,000 additional reward. And now we get a nice little flashy animation showing us going up through the division. So we were in the Semi-Pro League, which was the 4th tier, and with this weekly season, we have been promoted up into the Pro Division, which is a good little gain for us, a little promotion. Improves the reputation of our side, which is nice, means we'll have more fans come into our games, means that we have more money, and well, that season will be kicking off tomorrow night. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up, I think, this video from me. I may well do a separate video in the not-too-distant future on ranked games, because I feel like that's a system that I could talk about on its own kind of merit. But I do hope you enjoyed this video today. Apologies, obviously, for the disconnect during that first game. I don't feel like you missed too much, as the game was kind of already wrapped up at that point. But regardless, obviously great to see you guys watching the videos, enjoying the FMO content I've been doing, and hopefully you'll continue to enjoy it. If you've got any ideas for the kind of series you might want to see me do, it might be that I play ranked games. I'm not entirely sure. I'm open to some suggestions. Obviously, this is the third of a number of one-off videos that I've done, and I do want to look at ways that, depending on how well this is received, you know, in the coming weeks, you know, if more people stumble across it, if you guys want to see more of it, it's something I might look into doing. But anyway, guys, that is going to wrap things up from me today. Thank you for watching, as always. If you have enjoyed, as I already said, leave a like. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. And other than that, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.